One day when I was reading, I questioned what genre defined my reading taste. Romance is always up there, and recently the amount of general fiction and literary fiction books I have read have skyrocketed. I used to consider myself a fantasy reader, but after the second half of 2024, I really didn't know anymore. I looked through my Goodreads and I found that I only read 5 fantasy books out of the 34 books I read so far that year. In 2022, I read 27 fantasy books out of the 83 books I read that year. In 2023, I read 82 fantasy books out of the 164 books I read that year. And in 2024, I read 51 fantasy books out of the 149 books I read that year. So far, in 2025, I only read 5 fantasy books out of the 34 books I read. So I thought to myself, do I even like fantasy anymore? To help me fall back in love with fantasy books, I decided what better way to fall in love with the genre again than to force myself to read only fantasy books for a week.
It actually took 2 weeks and 2 days.
But who's counting? Hi guys, I'm gonna give you my first updates for Fairydale. I've been reading Fairydale for the past 4 days. I'm on page 343, so I'm slowly chugging along with it. I don't think it's bad. It's not bad by any means. I think it's considered indie because I don't think it's traditionally published. VL Books, I don't know what that means. No, yeah, that's her. That's the author. I think it's pretty fun. It's just a typical gothic romantasy type of book. It says paranormal. I guess it is paranormal. I just never really read stuff like this, but this was released in 2022. It's made its rounds on TikTok. I know a lot of the dark romantasy readers have read this, and it's got 20,000 ratings and stuff like that. So it's not super duper indie. I was watching, I think Mariana's read this, and then I think Bailey's read this. I saw Laura's Home, that's her YouTube thing. I saw her read it on one of her reading blogs because one of her friends recommended her read that, and I just thought it was super duper easy to pick up Fairydale, and I'm having fun. It's fun. It's not light, but it's also not super dark, I would say. Not as dark as I expected darker romances that I've heard about, because I don't really read dark romance, but this is fine. Our basic timeline, our main character Darcy, she is in 1955, Fairydale, Massachusetts. She goes over to Fairydale because her father has died, and she didn't really know her father, and apparently he's really rich. She used to come to the funeral and the hearing of the will. Goes into Fairydale, and it's super weird. It's stuff is happening, deaths have been there used to be a serial killer, and so it's an eerie town. Stuff happens at his funeral, wake, will type of thing. She has to stay in Fairydale for a couple months in order to get her inheritance. In this town, she meets this guy Caleb, and Caleb is a Hale, and so he lives on Hale Manor and stuff like that, and he's obsessed with her, obsessed. Then Darcy's having these dream nightmare things about this a ghost basically, and his name is Ammon, and in these dreams she is basically going back in time, so 1790s 1780s is where it is, so it's even more historical than 1955. Stuff is happening in Fairydale. She's learning more about her family because she was an orphan and her mother died, and so her mother and her were off in their little world, so she didn't even know her father was rich or anything. She didn't know about Fairydale at all, and so now that she's back in Fairydale, she's picking apart the pieces and putting them together. But apparently this is supposed to make you confused. Stuff in here is not supposed to make sense, and it will lead you off on a wrong path, on a wrong idea that you think is supposed to happen. And so I'm waiting for that to happen. I'm really I don't know, I'm just along for the ride. So I'm 44% through the book, and I'm hoping to finish it by this weekend. I'm hoping to get through it. It's really easy to read. It's the chapters are long, but they feel they're going by really fast, and it's not reading speed depends on the book, and I'm reading through it pretty fast. I just get tired at night. I just get sleepy at night, so I don't read as much. That's my first book getting into fantasy, and I don't think it's super duper fantasy. Honestly, I don't know why. Every time I think of is that a spoiler? And every time I think about one type of fantasy, it's not as fantastical. Some fantasies feel they have less stakes than other fantasies. Stuff I guess that's just urban fantasy. I just don't feel the stake. I think that's what I'm going with. I just don't really, even though this isn't urban, it's historical, but they're in an urban adjacent type of thing that I understand. 1955 is not too far away from what is right now. But yeah, that's it. I'm gonna leave you off, and I'll update you next time I have another update about Fairydale. A nice dive into fantasy again. Hey guys! about to do some filming. Not for you guys, but for something else. Finished Fairydale last night. The whole time, yeah, throughout the 760 pages, I was just like teetering on like a 3-star or like around that area. And so as soon as I was reading the last like 130 pages from 83% onward, that chunk that you saw me read last night, sorry, I have 3 camera batteries. All of these were dead. So I guess I just wasn't on top of charging them, but they were all dead, so they only got like a minute of me reading. But reflecting on it, I think I'm gonna give it a 2.75. I did enjoy it, but I wouldn't really recommend it. I think it says what it is, you know what I mean? But it's also not, as soon as we hit like the 50% mark onward, it just felt like a little bit of a lull in the story. And just because like we were in like so many different like heads, the book follows a lot of Darcy's like ancestry and stuff like that. So stuff that's happening like 2 of her main ancestors basically, and so it deals with that. And so we're in, I kid you not, I think one ancestor we were in, and it was like super far before 1955. I think I was in her POV for like 150 pages, and it was just back to back to back, and I was like, I want to know what's happening in the 1955 timeline. Like, I just don't really care about this right now. And I think a lot of those, it helps develop the relationship, but I guess it just like felt too long. I feel like that's the only reason I wouldn't really recommend it. And like 3 stars is my recommendation, but like I just got bored at the end because it was just like so much of a focus on like other POVs that I wasn't like really interested in. And so I feel like because we were so developed in those POVs and just like those storylines out, I guess it like ruined, not like ruined, that's a big word, but like it like affected my thoughts on the story in the 1955 present timeline, I guess. And it was just like, it was a little lackluster to me specifically. So I was like, okay, whatever. But I think the next book I'm gonna start is Heavenly Bodies. It says, can love overcome fate? I guess they're written in the stars. This one is like around 480, yeah, 483 with the acknowledgement, so it's like 2 pages less than that, but 483, this one. It's honestly, it feels like a nice book. Like, it's like thick, it's like good, it's like, I don't know, like, you know when a nice book, you feel a nice book? Yeah. Book 1, oh, it's a series, okay. Oh no, there's okay, that was mean, but there is a review of the book, and it says A Scorching Romance by Olivia Rose Darling and Fear the Flames. I DNF'd that book. I really don't DNF books, but I DNF'd that book. At like 40% too, so crazy. This is a dazzling new romantasy series that blends Greek mythology and shadow magic with tantalizing enemies to lovers romance that will rewrite the stars. I'm gonna read you the blurb. In a world ruled by cruel and merciless stars, Alara, her husband, cursed by fate. A prophecy promises she will fall for a star, but that it will kill them both. So when Arity, star of wrath and war, descends to wreak havoc on Alara's kingdom of night, she flees her home only to be captured by the neighboring Helos, kingdom of light, and falls straight into the arms of an enemy prince. Fearing that Arity might turn his sights to Helos next, Prince Lorenzo is forced to train Alara as a weapon, one worthy of battling against tyrannical reign of the stars. There are shadows even within the kingdom of light, and they threaten to reveal the darkness in Lorenzo's past and ancient magic that slumbers in Alara's veins. All comes undeniable star-crossed pull between Alara and Lorenzo that neither can seem to resist. How is this going to be enemies? Because she's like from the kingdom of night and she's going to the kingdom of light. Is that like the extent of the enemies? Because Lorenzo's just like forced to train her. It's not like she wants to kill, like, it's not like she wants to kill his family or something like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like those assassins. But like they're going against the same force, Arity. So I'm just a little confused on how this is enemies, but we'll get there. We'll probably get there in the book. Like the font in here, massive. So that's good for my eyes. I'm gonna start reading this. Hi guys. Okay, here's the update. Don't know how long it's been. You don't want to know. And these reading vlogs don't take a week. That's the truth of it. So there's that. And it's probably gonna take even longer than a week because the next book I think I'm planning to read after this. You're joking, but I am finally, where's my bookmark? I'm 356 pages into it, so I have like around probably less than 150. Okay. This is the first update. This is my first thoughts. It is exactly like the back says. It reads really new adult, and I feel like that's a lot of romantasy because it's like catered towards like the 18 to like 26 age range type of beat. It's not graphic. In one of my Goodreads updates, I was like, can someone please die? And literally 10 pages later, something happened. So thank God. That was at like 50%. Alara is our main character. She is from the Kingdom of Night. So I'm gonna show you the map. She's from down here, and she's Asterion, right? The king of all gods. His name is I'm saying Arity, but he's not like Zeus. He is like Ares, king of gods. So imagine if Ares was the king of all the gods, I think Greek mythology and stuff like that. There is a prophecy with having to do with Artie and Alara. So she is unkillable basically by the gods, and so they're the stars. So the gods are the stars. Every time they talk about the stars, it's the gods. He kills her family and she flees Asteria. Actually, she actually gets kidnapped up into, let me see if I'm pointing right, up to Helos. So this is where she's at. She gets kidnapped up to like the kingdom over there. A new border, a new god star is like in charge of that area, and so for the gods to like come in and out each other's kingdom, they have to like invite the gods in. So Artie's not invited to Helos. On the ground, Alara is the princess of the kingdom of night, and so she is on bad terms with Helos, which is like the sun, the light kingdom. Idris is the king, and he has a prince named Lorenzo. I hated Lorenzo. Like, I read Lorenzo in the back of this and I was like, we cannot have our main character being named Lorenzo. Like, one of his friends is like Leonardo, but like they have nicknames, and so thank God. I'm just really picky about names. His nickname is Enzo, so we call him Enzo. That's all you have to know. So Enzo is the prince of light. Idris, the king, kind of like made sure that Asteria, that like whole like, and the kingdom of night have been like outside of all like politics of all the other like countries basically in Celestia. A princess flees, she goes to Helos, they take her in because Idris, the king of Helos, he's not a god, he's a human. He wants to kill a god, and what better god than the god, like the king of all gods, Artie. He's recruiting Alara to be the star killer because she can't be killed by a star, and it has to do with like the prophecy with her and him and blah blah blah. So he's like, she's the perfect person, and he gets his prince Enzo to help train her because they each have 3 different types of magic. Normal people in like the kingdom, they're like not human, they're like mortals, but all the mortals have a power, and so there's like a few types of power that you can have in each kingdom, and so Enzo has 3 powers, and then because he has 3 powers, then also Alara has 3 powers. King Idris is like, what better person to train you than another person that has 3 powers. I don't remember Enzo's 3rd power, but he has light, like light beams, fire, and then something else. Oh, I think he can like not like read minds, tell if people are lying, like type of beat. And then Alara, when we first got introduced to Alara's powers, one of her powers felt like so useless. I was like, girl, I still think it's pretty useless. It better play up even more. That's just personal reasons. Dream walking. She has to be asleep or daydreaming to do that power. And then she can conjure up nightmares and like illusions for people. And then another one is shadow magic. And so, but that shadow magic has been like repressed for a while. So that's the whole like training arc of like her trying to get her power back. On to the thing. It's marketed enemies to lovers. 30% into it, they don't hate each other anymore. So what's the point? Up until that, like the 30%, like I liked it. It wasn't so over the top in the banter that I was like, oh, I'm gonna throw up. It's like mutual friendship type of deal, like allies. Like of course they're gonna like start like lowering down their walls. That's why I think I just don't really care for enemies to lovers anymore, because like it's hard to do right. And so even if you are doing it right and they're still like, they hate each other, enemies, you can feel like that hatred. It's just like, what's the point? Like you guys are supposed to be like friends, allies. So like why would I even like root for a relationship with each other? You know what I mean? Sometimes Enzo's cringe. Enzo's cringe. He has such a temper. I'm just like, bro, calm down. Like it was never that, it was that serious, but like calm down. Like everyone's, I don't know how people are feeling. I don't know if it's like a protective cute that everyone's like, oh, it's like the touch her and I'll kill you type of thing. And I'm just like, I don't care. Like you need to calm down. I know this is crazy. I know this is a high stakes situation, but please calm down. That's just my viewpoint. Like, especially because like Alara is definitely capable, and it's just like, what's the point? Like, why are you doing the absolute most ever? One thing about the plot, I think I was expecting it to be a little bit more dragged on, and so when that plot like kind of finished, a specific plot, I can't be given spoilers, but when a specific plot like was starting to wrap up and you could like see the growth, then something happened and it was like only 50%. I was like, okay, so where are we doing from this now on? Because this is a series, this is only book 1. I don't know how it's gonna end, especially because I think book 2 is already out, but since this was published in 2022, and so this is being traditionally published, and so I don't know if like the second book that was already like released out and indie published is like even accessible anywhere until the traditionally published version of the second second book is gonna come out. And they probably like edit it up and stuff like that when they're traditionally published, but I'm having fun. Like, it's not the most like complex ever. It's not like the craziest thing I've ever read. It's not like the most like politically intriguing type of book, but it's fun. I'm having fun. And I actually have been like itching to like read it, which is crazy. Not because I don't want to read, it's because I have so much work to do. So I'm thinking about this book. So I guess that's a good sign. 3:56. Those are my updates. I kind of want to finish it tonight. I don't know how that's gonna work out, but I'm gonna try. I had to stop squinting. Page 428. There's 483. Retainers in. Bedtime. Final battle's happening, so. Like I'm gagging. What do you mean? Am I getting punked? Like, what is this? He can't do it. Like, I don't understand. Like, what's the point? I really understand the point. Maybe. I'm sick. Finished it. That's all. Hi guys, finished Heavenly Bodies last night. You saw me finish it. Like I said, it's like new adult, like romantasy. So it's not like the most groundbreaking literature I've ever read in my life, but like it was a fun time. That's going into my rating because hey, I just had a time. I need to drink something. This is matcha coconut water. I'm giving it 4 stars. I just had a grand old time. It leans more into like the mythology. This one is based on Greek mythology, but it's like Greek and Roman mythology, which are like basically the same thing, just different. It's basically the same gods with different names and stuff like that. And so main character wise, I did enjoy Alara. I liked her. I didn't like Enzo that much. Spice rating. People love talking about the spice in romantasy books. This is probably like 1.5 to 2. 2 is pushing it. It's just very like, it doesn't really add anything to the plot, but there are like flirtations and stuff like, why did I say that? They are flirting for a good chunk of the book. So yeah, there's that if you don't care for that. You don't even have to know anything about Greek mythology or like astrology or anything like that to get into this book, but it was just so easily digestible and so easy to like understand. So that's good when you're like in a fantasy slump, I guess. You don't want to think too hard in like a new world specifically, especially when we're world building a whole like universe basically. So that's easy, fun, fresh, cool. Oh my god, one thing I hate, and this is just like a personal thing, it's just like, ugh. It happened in the last 2 books and it's just like, but like when it like the character has a deeper history in the whole like trajectory of the narrative, it low-key pisses me off. I'm just like, you couldn't have been more original. Like I guess like it's just like a big thing, like you have to have like a twist of some sort, especially when you're building a universe. I don't know how many books this series will be, but I know there's a second book. You have to up the stakes every book and stuff like that, so I understand it. Especially like in this book, it's just so blatant and it's just like, girl, what, like this is so stupid. Like that's like that. I'm saying that like I enjoyed the book. I told you I'm giving it 4 stars. It's like that's high praise for me. And not like that I'm like the most like harsh critic, but like I just feel like the end of like 2024 and then like into this year, I've just been a little bit more harsh with my ratings, and it's just like 3 is not a bad book, but it's just a middle of the line book. Like I'm really never thinking about the 3s ever again. And not to say that like this is gonna be on my mind forever and ever because it's 4 stars. That's not the case. I'm really forgetful. It exceeded expectations. You know what I mean? Like pretty middle line road expectations to go into this. Like I know Emmy Rosam loves it, and she also loved Metal Slinger, and I just didn't really care for Metal Slinger. So like I don't know how much our taste aligns with each other in the realm of like romantasy books. So I just really didn't have much expectations going in, but it was fine. Like I had a fun time. It was easy to read. I liked the friendships. It was fun. The pacing of the book was like a little like, sometimes we're building up to like a specific event or like a thing that we have to do, and then it's just like lulled. Like it just like a halt in the whole thing to make room for the romance. And I was like, we could have like interwoven these like 2 storylines a lot more seamlessly, and it's just like the plot point of like we're trying to kill Arity, and then it's just like, oh, Enzo and Alara have to have sex, and then it's just like, oh yeah, then we get back to like killing Arity, and I'm just like, realistically, like get on it, guys. So there's that. But a lot of like, there's a bunch of training scenes in here with Alara and what's his name, Enzo, and so that reminds me, there's a specific Clary and Jace training scene in the TV show. I think it's season 2, episode 12 of Shadowhunters. So that's what it reminds me of. Like, it's just that. I'll put a screenshot of it and you can look it up yourself, but it's good. It's good. So there's that. 4 stars. That's my review of that. The next book that we're doing to like get me back into the fantasy is pretty I would say ambitious for me, because I read, I would say November. Let me check. September. Wait. I read this in September. Ew. Okay. Okay, here's the timeline of me reading this series. This is a trilogy. So the first book I read in April of 2024. The second book that I read in this series, I read it in September, the end of September. And I've put that one off for a while. And I've even put this one off, I would say even more, maybe May, June, July, August, September. So 5 months for the second book. October, November, December, January, February. October, November, December, January, February, March. Oh my God, 6 months. Wow, that's crazy. But it's time. It's time to finish the Mistborn series. This is the original trilogy. So in Vin's POV, I think the Mistborn era 2 doesn't follow Vin. So we're following Vin. I liked Vin. I didn't really care for the trajectory of the second book that much, because I just felt like it was, I don't know, it's not as like tropey in the sense of like, oh, there's a heist, there's something to do. Oh, Vin is undercover trying to be a noble elite, and it just felt like it was directly the aftermath of dismantling a like government everything. That's like this whole second book. This third book, I don't really know what's gonna happen. Let's see. No, I can't read this out. Okay, this one, I hate reading Brandon Sanderson's books physically, so I have it downloaded on my Kindle. So we'll just be flip-flopping back and forth between the physical version and the Kindle version. I looked it up. This one is around 600 pages, 580. The word count is at 225,000 words. So yeah, this might take ages. Hero of ages. But yeah. Hi guys, I am slowly chugging along on my read of Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. This is how far I'm into it. It says I'm 59%, so we'll round up to 60% through the book. I'm liking it way better than Well of Ascension. I feel like Well of Ascension, I don't know, something about the Well of Ascension just didn't really click with me. It was still good. It was fine. I just felt like everything felt so slow. That really hindered me wanting to go into Hero of Ages, because Mistborn 1, the first book, was just so fast, and it was just like so many like plots that are just like so like easy to like get by. Like they had to pull off a heist, they had to like pull off a rebellion basically and stuff like that. The second one was more like rebuilding and then like the consequences of rebuilding. This one I can't say. Basically all you have to really know is that they're having a bunch of different conversations, but it's moving quicker. Like I feel like they're saying it's the same amount of like politics talk, but with action in it, instead of just like sitting in a boardroom that was in Well of Ascension. And I feel like Well of Ascension just did not have enough action for me, and I was just like, okay, like I'm understanding the significance of it and how it plays into the bigger role, but it just felt so dragged on. This one, it's a good mix of both, I would say. I don't remember the other ones. I read the second book 6 months ago. I read the first book like a year ago. I don't remember if those chapters were really fast and like short. I feel like these chapters in this book are like really short. They're like sometimes like 15 pages max, but like most of the time they range from like 7 to like 12 pages for a chapter. And there's just so many different like perspectives. I wouldn't say they're like necessarily point of views, because we're all in third person. But like we follow along different characters in that third person. Like you do have a bias of like who you want to follow along, because sometimes they're just like boring. Like I totally have biases. I think as you keep reading, they all like form into their own flesh storylines, and that all interconnect and that are just so fun. So like I don't hate a storyline every time I'm getting to it. Like I'm not always like, oh, I have to read this perspective right now. I had to like follow these events right now. So I think that's good. This book is basically can be summarized up into like our characters are just questioning everything. They're questioning things, they're learning things about like passages and like words and like decisions made hundreds of years before them, and they're like, why did they do this? Why did this old man do this? Like blah blah blah. And I was just like, okay, we get it. But the stakes are really high. Like the end of the world is coming here. They could like become Pompeii, like ashes falling down onto them. They're suffocating. They can't grow food. They have no clean water. They don't know what to do. There aren't alliances anywhere, so they're like literally just trying to conquer everybody, and so just to get resources. And it's just like, that's insane. But why am I not scared? Like, I'm never scared. I guess it's because like there's Mistborn era too, so the world lives on, unless that's like a multiverse type of thing. And there's like, I know the Cosmere continues on, so I guess that's not why I'm like so stressed. And it's like the third book, like what could happen? Like these character storylines are wrapping up, so like I feel like the stakes aren't there. Like, yeah, this is like crazy. They could suffocate. Like I said, Well of Ascension was kind of a drag for me, and I was picking this up and I was starting it off, and I was just like, am I going to remember everything? No, I don't know what any of the medals do, I'm not gonna lie. I just know a couple, and then it's just like whatever. So like every time someone says they're a copper eye, a tin eye, it was like a copperhead or a coin shot. I don't know what that means, but it's okay. It's kind of like when you're reading Red Rising and they're like, they talk about all the different houses. I don't know what a pink does. I just know what the reds do and the golds do. So like stuff like that. 60% through, I'm having fun. Like I had fun in the first Mistborn and didn't have fun in the second Mistborn, but now I'm having fun again. Like I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying reading it. So, which is something like, I guess like everyone likes it, so like I was like, okay. But like sometimes it doesn't hit up to the hype, but this one's fine. It's going pretty good. I'm having a grand time, and there's way more action in this one than the second one, so I really appreciate that. Honestly, for this book, I've been reading it, a lot of it physically. There's like some chunks that I read when I'm reading before bed. I'll just read on my Kindle, but yeah, for the most part, I'm reading this physically, and it's not horrible. I'm always dogging on how big and like Bible thin pages and like how small the text is in Brandon Sanderson books, but it's fine. I'm having a good time. I'm about to go cook some dinner. I'm actually so happy. I'm so happy that I'm liking it. So there's that. She was conquered. I conquered, and wait. What's the saying? It's blank. They blanked. They conquered. They came. They conquered. I did it. I did it. I finished it. It was like 560-ish pages, so not 600 pages, but close. Close. Okay, I'm stewing on a rating. I'm going to be honest, I don't know if this video is ending. I am planning to read another book. Yeah, and I'm excited to read it. So I guess that's the whole like purpose of this video, trying to get excited for fantasy books, because for the last, I would say, 3 books I've been reading strictly fantasy, and I do want to continue on, because I'm continuing on with the next and final book in the Crimson Moth series. Is that what it's called? Heartless Hunters. I watch Rachel Catherine religiously. I watch every week. I watch every upload. I rewatch every upload. And she literally read the Crimson Moth like a few months ago, but that's one of my comfort vlogs of her and her book club reading that book, and so it's always like the Crimson Moth in my mind. I don't even know what it's actually called. It's called the Crimson Moth series. The first book is Heartless Hunter and the second book is Rebel Witch. I'm going to be reading the Rebel Witch because it's only a duology. I'm gonna knock it out. My Kindle says it's 475 pages. Don't know the exact. I'm gonna be finishing that. It came out this year in February, and I guess this can be onto this video, and it's just gonna be, yes, this experiment did work. So if you're ever in a slumpy mood about a genre or even just books in general, force yourself to read them and you're gonna like them. You're gonna get to some point, because I haven't read fantasy a lot this year. Before this video, I read Evocation by S.T. Gibson, which is a urban witchy fantasy. So it's like fantasy, but I don't see it as fantasy like that. And then Babel, which was a reread, so it doesn't count. Nocticadia by Carrie Lake. Air by Sabar Tahir. So this whole entire year, out of the 36 books that I've read, 4 of those have only been fantasy. Yeah, only 4. That's crazy. Because of this video, I've read Fairydale, Heavenly Bodies, finished the Mistborn trilogy. Like, that's insane. But I feel like we're back. We're back. We're back and better than ever. I have to say, it's not like I'm going to be actively avoiding fantasy now. Oh gosh, this is crazy. Oh my gosh.
Okay, hi guys. I finished The Rebel Witch last night. I was pushing myself to read that, and not like because I didn't want to read it. I wanted to finish it in March. So it's April 1st today. And I was like, I have to finish this book tonight. And I did. I didn't really get any clips about like the summary or anything like that because it's like a duology. But basically, the first book, The Crimson Moth / Heartless Hunter, follows a girl named Rune. She is like a socialite type of girl. She's like nobility basically, so she goes to a bunch of balls and stuff like that. But in secret, she is the Crimson Moth. And the Crimson Moth is a witch that is hiding in plain sight. The revolution took over the reign of the witches, of these witch queens, and so they took it over, and now they kill every witch that they see, find, and everything like that. Rune is the Crimson Moth, and she like frees all those witches, gets them out of captivity and stuff like that. So that's her job. And Gideon, the main character, he is a witch hunter, and so he's trying to find out who the Crimson Moth is. And it's fun because Rune isn't like the best at her like magic and stuff like that. Protect herself and pretend that she's not a witch and not a witch sympathizer. She had to give up her grandmother because of her grandmother. Like, she doesn't know much about her magic, and before her grandmother died, she told us to go find this girl named Seraphine. And so that's what Rune's trying to do. She's trying to get witches out of captivity, but also try to find Seraphine. So that's the first book basically. And yeah, the second book was honestly really good. I think it just moves so fast. The chapters are so quick, the plot lines are so fast, and like we never really dwell on anything. And that's perfect for a YA fantasy book because like you just don't want to be like slogging with like all these action sequences. I would say in the second book there was like not like explicit, but they were very like it kind of went in detail about like not actually sex, but like the lead up to it. And I was like, okay, this is kind of crazy for a YA book, but that's that. I'm giving it a 3.5 stars. I gave the first one 3.5 stars, and I'm giving the second one 3.5 stars too. I liked it. I called stuff that happens in the second book more than I called it in the first book, but yeah, it was fun. It was easy. The second book kind of like took place on like a boat ship type of beat, and I was like, this is basically Titanic. That was fun, and I just like moved so quickly that you just don't really get bored, and you can just binge it, and that's what I did. I read like 300 pages last night, so there's that. And I'm gonna work backwards. But the third book that I read was Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. Like I've been saying in this whole entire video, I've been putting this book off for like 6 months. Now that I finally read it, I do really enjoy it. I think this book and the first Mistborn are like tied in my eyes, so I gave the first Mistborn book 4.5 stars, but I'm pretty sure I gave the second book in this, Well of Ascension, I gave that 4 stars. But I'm giving this 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. This and the first book are like kind of tied in my eyes. I like them both like pretty equally. Honestly, the ending really did shock me. I mean, I was just like, that's crazy, but I understand it. I think of the way that it's not 5 stars is I wasn't like super emotionally attached to the characters, and I really need that when I'm like obsessed with the book. And so like, why do you think I like saw that like Happy Place or like Magnolia Parks? Like I just have to like really be emotionally connected to those characters and stuff like that. I can't really tell you much, but like the characters in this, and I feel like we get a lot more POVs in here. I liked the POV switches. The chapters were pretty short compared to the other books in the series. I don't really remember, but they felt really short. They felt really easy to read. I feel like I got more into the characters that we were seeing in these point of views than like I remember in Well of Ascension. That's all I have to say. It was really good. 4.5 stars. Enjoyed it. The second book that I read was Heavenly Bodies by Amani Oru. I gave this 4 stars. I just really enjoyed it. I think it was fun. A great new adult romance. I liked the plot. One part of the plot, I was just like, ugh, like they have to do that, and I just like, I'm not the biggest fan of it, so I'm like, ugh, whatever. It's just like a little cheesy in my eyes. And then also I think the main character Enzo was just like so icky sometimes. He just gave me the ick because he was just like so quick to anger, and I was just like, what? Like, huh? I was just like, this is annoying. But overall I enjoyed it. This one is about this girl named Alara. Her kingdom's overtaken by the king of God Artie, and so she flees because there's a prophecy regarding Artie and Alara. So she flees after her parents are killed, and she goes to a rival neighboring kingdom, the Kingdom of Light, and she gets recruited by that king Idris to become a star killer, and he is going to like train her to kill Artie. And so his son Enzo Lorenzo is training Alara, but they're enemies because they have some unchecked baggage. I feel like the enemies aspect of this book was just like so not it. It literally they made up basically and like figured everything out at like 25-30%, and I was just like, okay. It was a lot of like longing, lusting type of beat. It was fun. I enjoyed it. I liked Alara. I don't know, I liked being in like a castle setting fantasy, like kingdoms and everything like that. It was fun. I haven't read anything like this in a while, so it was good. First book I read was Fairydale by Veronica Lancet. I'm giving this 2.75 stars. Middle of the line books are my 3 stars, and there was just some moments in here that I just felt like it was just so dragged out, especially because in the present timeline it's 1955, and then there's also like these like bigger storylines that add to the main 1955 storyline, and so like those are in the past, and there's 2 different like timelines that we were exploring about like the lore of the world and stuff like that, and like the relationships and stuff like that. I feel like they had too much book time, and I was just like, I don't need this, like just sum it up. And then after that, like there was a big chunk of like lore past time and then like this much of the present time so they could wrap it up, and I was just like, what, this is horrible, this is like, this pacing's horrible. But overall it was like 700 something pages, and it was a lot, but I just feel like we spent too much time in the past, and I was just like, we need more in the present to like build up the existing relationship now, especially because it's like a weird thing. This one's a dark paranormal romantasy like type of beat, so it is very dark romance, fantasy, paranormal. Basically our main character Darcy, she gets called up and she's like, your father died, he was rich, and we need you here at the funeral for his will. And she's like, I don't know my father. And he's like, you better get to Fairydale. She goes to Fairydale, some weird stuff happens, and she's like uncovering and unpacking all of these things that are happening to her in Fairydale and stuff like that. So that's basically it. That's basically the story. It was fine. In the beginning it was like, this is supposed to confuse you, you're gonna go on so many twists and turns. It wasn't that confusing. It was just like, yeah, you kind of saw that coming. But so basically I've read 4 fantasy books in the span of however long it took, but I think I'm officially back on my fantasy grind. It's not going to be my main genre still. I flip-flop mostly between romance, general fiction, literary fiction. My love for that has like skyrocketed since the like middle of last year. I'm still really enjoying literary fiction books, and now I'm back on my fantasy grind. I have, like I said, I haven't really been reading fantasy, but this has kind of cemented me back into my fantasy phase a little bit. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the books that we read in this reading vlog. Give it a like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Instagram or TikTok or Goodreads. It's all down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!